Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Bad Score. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Collin.
And today we're in a different location, you can see right now. But on top of that, I want to introduce a special friend of mine, my good friend and colleague, Joe.
Hey everybody, what's going on?
Hello, Joe.
All right, Joe. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Thank you.
So we just came back from seeing Tenet today. We saw it in an IMAX theater, so I'm really excited to talk about this movie. So let's get on to about Tenet. So Tenet is the newest Christopher Nolan movie starring John David Washington, and it's a different type of thriller like Christopher Nolan always does. So in this movie, you have his character, and he's pretty much out to save the world from a nuclear war happening. So, that's how much I can explain about this movie right now to you guys. So, Colin, I'm going to start with you. What did you like about Tenet?
Okay, so similar to the structure of Tenet, I'm going to have my review basically in reverse. So the best thing about Tenet is the last hour of the movie. That's where all the spoilers are for the movie, so I can't get into much detail about it. But all I can say is it has a great payoff to its first hour and a half of setup. I think that the last hour of the movie is where Nolan shines with his creativity. I think there's a lot to digest. It's the closest he'll ever get to Inception, to where you gotta watch it a couple times to kind of understand what's going on. But I gotta say, coming out of it at the very end, I understood a lot more than I thought I was going to. But I definitely know that with repeat viewings, I'm going to like Tenet a lot more. So I'm going to go to Joe. Joe, what is the positives you have on Tenet?
I have a lot. It's so hard to talk about it because you can't talk about it. So what I will say is my biggest takeaway is that in many regards, this was Christopher Nolan at the peak of his game, to me at least. Because I felt like he told an incredibly complex story and minimized it down, at least in description, for the audience to understand, as if it was nothing. The action is insane, especially when you take into account the fact that everything is practical. Well, mostly everything is practical with a Christopher Nolan film. You're seeing stuff done on screen that really, truly has not been done before. And you're just you sit there and you're just like, whoa, what is going on and what's going to happen next? And then you're trying to remember, whoa, what happened last and what's going next? And it's really just a thrill ride. And I agree with Colin, like the last hour, it's just you're locked in. You're locked and loaded, and the movie's not stopping. Even when it's over, I feel like it's just still going forward.
All right, yeah, so I pretty much agree with a lot of what you guys said about your positives about Tenet. So here's my positive about Tenet. I love Christopher Nolan's cinematography. I love his style of filmmaking with the IMAX cameras. I mean, if you can, definitely check this out, an IMAX movie. It's definitely worth watching the IMAX screen, because I just love the cinematography. That's really my biggest thing that I loved about this film. I love how it's shot. The action's great, and I really like that Christopher Nolan kind of went back to what I love about Christopher Nolan, is him doing action thrillers from the Dark Knight trilogy to Inception. So I was really glad to see him back doing that again. It just kind of brought back the old times of the movies that I really loved. And that was great. John David Washington, this is the first time I saw him perform ever. And man, he is exactly like Denzel Washington. He talks like him, he has his presence, and he was fantastic. I really thought he carried the weight of this movie. He was just really good. I really enjoyed him in this movie. He was just really great presence, and I can't wait to see more of what he does. And yeah, and again, really great action choreography. It's a very unique, interesting type of movie. Very similar to Inception, in my opinion. I think it's very much like that. And if you love Inception, I think you're definitely going to enjoy this movie. So let's get into the bad about this. So I'm going to start this off. What the hell was happening in this movie? What the hell was happening in this movie?
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
You know,
Oh man.
Yeah,
I think there's an 8:30. You want to go back in?
I mean, we're gonna need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Here's the thing about Christopher Nolan that I've noticed. He has a unique mind. Okay, I'm giving that. He has a unique mind. The things he comes up with is just so it's just things I don't think no one would ever think of writing. And I do have to give him props. He's a very ambitious guy, and his stories is always unique. I mean, every movie I see, first of all, I'm always on the edge of my seat. But the biggest problem I have with so many of his movies is that I don't know what the hell is happening. And you have to watch it over and over and over again. I do feel like Christopher Nolan intentionally does that, but I feel like now it's getting to a point now where it's like, okay, you got to make the story a little bit more clear. And like, I mean, I just had no clue what was happening in this movie. Like that's just really my biggest criticism about this movie. I just had no clue what was happening. I mean, I still went with it. I still was watching the movie. I mean, I was still engaged, but I literally just like, okay, I think I know what's happening. I'm like, how did this happen? Who's this guy?
I just want to apologize to the viewers since I said that it's an incredibly complex story that's easy to follow.
Yeah.
You were lying.
Oh my God.
You're crazy.
I was not lying. I personally, as a fan of Christopher Nolan, found it, I wouldn't say super easy to follow, but if you could follow the breadcrumbs a little bit, you understand what's going on.
All said and done, that's really my criticism about this movie. I just could not get the story. I really tried following it. And it just loses me every second of the way. All right, I'm going to go to you, Collin.
So we started the review with a talk about the end of the film. It's fitting to be talk about the beginning, that first hour and a half. Man, it was... I was not liking it at first. I gotta say, I would say definitely the first half hour, I was like, what the hell is going on? I don't understand. It's a lot of people just kind of dry talking and all that. It's so complex that I think even more than Inception, this is a movie you gotta see a second time because the second half will boost the first half. However, that first hour and a half, a lot of people will be like, what is going on? They're going to lose interest, especially in a 2.5 hour movie where it's not till the last hour that pays off. I think I feel like it's like the reverse of Inception, to where you had a small bit of exposition about the world of Inception, then you dive deep right into the action, what the whole film was about. With Tenet, it's the reverse of that. You get a lot of exposition about all the rules, and even though they explain so much, you don't really understand them all. And then it gets into the fun part. I definitely think the first hour and a half is going to be a really tricky one to get through, but you are rewarded at the end.
My biggest complaint with the movie is that there were a lot of times that the dialogue was really hard to hear. I don't know if it was because of the sound setup in our theater or just the sound mixing the film in general.
It was loud.
It was loud, and a lot of the sound effects and music cues really cover up the dialogue, especially in really important parts, like when they're explaining how certain things work. Like, there's one pivotal scene early on in the movie where basically the plot is explained, like the whole device of the movie is being explained to our main character, and you can only hear about 25% of the dialogue. So Andrew said, what the hell was happening? My question was, what the hell were they saying? Together you get a pretty fun movie, though. I think visually it made up for where it lost in sound, but I definitely got to watch it again to hear a lot of what I missed.
Yeah, you made a good point there. That's another problem I have. I cannot understand what they're saying. It was like muffling or something. So it's definitely on the sound department's end, because I couldn't understand.
They boost the music and the all the special effects above the dialogue.
I tell you what, when this thing comes on DVD, I am definitely gonna play the subtitles.
Yes,
I'm like, they should honestly just take the film back and just put subtitles on.
Might as well.
Because I mean, you're not gonna understand what the hell's happening.
All I'm saying is, if you had a hard time hearing Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, don't see this movie.
Oh my gosh,
because
Bane
it's essentially like
character.
Everybody's Bane in this movie.
Yeah, it is.
But no, it's fun. Really quick, I know that we keep on saying see it a second time or see it a third time or see it however many times. Unlike with Cats, do not see this movie drunk whatsoever. You gotta be sober. You gotta be awake. You gotta be sober. You gotta be vibrant. You gotta be there. Turn off your phone. Don't even look at your Apple Watch, because you're in for a nonstop ride. You miss a second, you're in deep water.
So now let's guess our scores. So Collin, you obviously enjoyed this movie a lot. I think you had a good. I think we all pretty much have the same opinions. I would say. So I think you're gonna go 8.5 out of 10
Okay.
with your score. Joe, I think you're gonna go a little higher because you love Christopher Nolan, and as much as I do, I think you're gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think.
Okay.
Okay, Joe.
All right. So Andrew, listening to you, I know that you love Christopher Nolan, but I know that you really have no idea what went on. Weighing the factors, I'm feeling somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7.0. I might lean to a 7.0, seeing that you'll give Chris the benefit of the doubt. Collin, I don't know you as well, but it seems like you enjoyed this movie more than Andrew did. I'm going to go with an 8. Solid 8.0.
Okay, so Joe, I know out of this car you probably liked it the most. So I am going to say you're going to give it a 9. And then Andrew, you're definitely a 7. Because you're the one that liked it the least in the car. So, who's right, who's wrong?
You guys are actually wrong. I did enjoy this
Whoa,
movie, and I am gonna go high because
There's a wild card here.
yeah,
I know.
I am
I'm
gonna
not
go high.
expecting
But here's the
that.
thing.
I guess you could say Jokers are wild. That's a Dark Knight reference for you kids out there.
All right, so here's my score. My score is gonna be an 8.5 out of 10.
Whoa!
Because
I was not
as
expecting
much
that.
as
I wasn't either.
as much as the story is confusing,
What a
as much
twist.
as much as I'm confused watching this, I'm still blown away by the style of the movie and the visuals and everything else. I'm still. It's still enjoyable as much as it's confusing. I mean, I'm still with the movie. I
Just
did
to
not.
clarify.
I did not turn off watching this movie.
Just to clarify, was that supposed to be an 8.5 or a 5.8?
8.5.
It could have went either way.
It could go. Hey, it could go. You never know.
Okay, Joe, what are
right.
you giving this?
I'm actually also going 8.5. I don't
Wow.
think it's at a 9 necessarily. It might go up in the future. It might go down in the future. But right now I'm going to coast at an 8.5. Also, before I forget, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for being part
Yeah.
of it.
Oh, of course.
You did
So,
a great job.
and a big Shyamalan twist, I'm actually going to give it the lowest score. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I was not, it's definitely a good movie, but I think the last thing we should talk about, is this worth risking our lives to go out to a theater to see Tenet?
As someone who has said I will die for Christopher Nolan, I actually got
That's a
to
yes.
put that into logic today. So, yes.
If you are a huge cinema fan and you love movies and you love Christopher Nolan, go see it. Check it out.
I would say if you're like us and you want the definitive way to watch the movie, you gotta go IMAX, you gotta go find whatever theater. But if you're just casual, like a date night, you want to go out and trying to have like a relaxing time, this is not the movie because this is a thesis.
All right, so that concludes our episode, Good Bad Score. Thank you again for watching our episode. Please comment below. Let us know what you thought of Tenet. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. And subscribe to our channel. And once again, I'm Andrew.
I'm Collin.
I'm Joe.
And my thoughts after watching this movie, I think Christopher Nolan it definitely does some acid or... That's all I gotta say.